Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Criterion Connection. I am Wade.
And I'm Joe.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to say this whole episode. We're doing a Jacques Demy film called Umbrellas of Cherbourg.
Something like that.
Something like that. I probably butchered it. We actually looked up her pronunciation. There's a lot of in it, and I was like, nope, we're not going to do any of that. So it is a musical.
Mm-hmm.
The music is by Michael Legrand, and it stars Catherine Deneuve and I had to look this up actually. Nino Castelnuovo, who is an Italian actor. If you couldn't tell, he was an Italian actor. And it is a musical that takes place. It's a 3-act movie that takes place within 5-6 years, and like the late 50s into the early 60s.
Yeah.
The first year was 1957 in the beginning of the movie, and it ends on 62 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, for a specific reason.
Yes.
There's a plot point revolving around the Algerian War. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also raining outside, so umbrellas, right? It's a musical. I heard, all I know of it was French New Wave,
Yeah.
and it's a musical. I didn't know it was going to be the musical the whole way through, because some musicals are just like, we'll do a song and then we'll have dialogue.
Yeah.
And then a song and then dialogue, and a big set piece and dialogue. This one was just straight singing all the way through.
Yeah, I almost think of it as like an opera in a way.
Yes.
to be honest. The
Yes.
way every line is sung in the film.
Yeah, and
there is no speaking.
And it's a color palette that Wes Anderson would drool over.
Yeah, I think
it's not as muted as a Wes Anderson film, but there's a lot of color.
Wes is always gonna gravitate to those like mustards, and stuff like that. This is much more bright.
Yeah, everything in this has color in it. There's nothing that's dull. Color wise, if it is dull, it's got a really like bright thing nearby.
Making use of that Technicolor.
Oh my god, does it? Like there's moments where like they're walking in the street and there's like these colorful umbrellas, colorful posters. Guy, our main character, Guy. Oh, sorry. Guy, our main character, he has his whole house, his whole room is like blue.
Yeah.
And there's one wall is completely blue.
Yep.
The other one is blue and yellow striped. Yep. And he comes in with a blue shirt.
Yeah.
To change into, I think, a pink. It was a pink undershirt. Or it was like a pink jacket. I forget what it was. But like, I feel like it's very strategic in the color.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But basically about Guy and I can never say the name right.
Genevieve. Basically, it's Genevieve in French.
Yeah. It's basically about those two. They're in love.
They're in love. Yeah, they're very star-crossed lovers from the get-go, because we're introduced to Nino at the automotive shop, and boss asks him to work late, and he's like, nope, can't do it, and it's because he's going to see his love, Genevieve.
Yes.
And basically, what's funny is I think of this movie and I just think of like Grease.
Yeah, it's not because he's in an auto shop.
It's the not just the auto shop, but like the musical aspect, the star-crossed lovers aspect. I mean, they don't necessarily have the same kind of arc as we have with our leads in Grease, but it is very similar to me, where like Genevieve and her mother, they run like a shop, and her mother's like got these nice jewels, kind of well-to-do. Guy is much more hardworking. He's living with his aunt after being an orphan, and she's raised him, but she's getting sick, so he's kind of down on his luck. He's like a blue-collar kind of guy, and that's kind of the dynamic. And
then war happens.
Yeah, what essentially is like their love story, and they're like, oh, I love you. They're really young, and they may be head over heels with each other and they want to, get together. Genevieve's mom is not super into it. But the real wrinkle pops in is the Algerian War, and he gets drafted. And that's like 2 years mandatory service, and he's worried about, like, do I even come home? What's going to happen? And that is kind of the main obstacle for them.
Yeah.
Because
and time.
Yeah, it isn't necessarily their love for one another at the time. It's distance and uncertainty and that time away from each other. And
he leaves her with a parting gift. I don't want to spoil what it is, but these are with a parting gift.
Yeah.
Well, that adds a little extra, like, uncertainty to things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting kind of musical, because when people think of musicals, they're generally bright and happy, and this starts off that way and tails off.
Yeah, I noticed, like, I feel like there's points where, like, near the end of the film, they, like, kind of tone down the color a little bit.
Yeah, everything.
And it's a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, it's a really interesting take on that kind of a musical. I mean, it's not that there aren't sad musicals. Obviously there are. But when you think of that golden age of Hollywood style, it's always bright, escapist, happy, and that's kind of the vibe. Even when there's obstacles, your characters end up the way you want them to.
Yeah.
This movie does not do that. Unfortunately,
I feel like the movie La La Land took a lot of, like, liberties from the story of this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe not the war part, but, like, definitely the third act.
But
it's very,
and it is, like, broken up into kind of easily digestible parts, because you have that big, like, chapter 1.
That's the
chapter 2.
Yeah, I remember
the little title cards.
Yeah, it was the departure, the absence, and the return.
Yeah, and it was an interesting kind of story setup. I can't say that it captured me. Like, the music is good. Like, the music is good. The singing is often pretty distracting. Even as somebody that enjoys a good musical, I found it quite distracting. But it was well crafted in how they allow people to have conversations mid-song.
Yeah.
I think that was great, and I love that kind of, I guess, jazzy music, I would call it. Really, for me, the highlight is the cinematography.
Yes.
And, the use of color throughout the film. But, like, the shots of Jacques Demy and his DOP kind of put together are really incredible. And a lot of the blocking they use and the way characters can move through a scene and the camera kind of follows them, and it, like, frames everything up perfectly, but it's also smooth the whole time. It was really impressive.
I mean, so Joe, would you recommend the film to the general audience?
Not really, actually. I think it's a really great piece of filmmaking, and I think there's a lot of really wonderful technique, and both with the actors and the crew. Like, I think there's a lot of really great technique on hand. I think, like, I almost think of this as almost like a West Side Story with the way it's done.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it being well received by a general audience. I think this is, like, a real, like, cinephile.
If you like musicals, I feel like you should watch this. I'd also probably not recommend it to the general audience. If you like musicals, I think you'll like it a lot. Mm-hmm. If you're cinephile, or, like, you love color. If you're colorblind, I don't know if you would enjoy it as much.
I think it's a really quality film. like there's nothing to take away from our not recommending as
Yeah.
this isn't good. It's well crafted. It's very well done. It's just like this is one that I would say you get to down the line, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's other like more approachable and like more for a general audience kind of up for it. And for me, this doesn't like supersede those kind of barriers I think that people would have to enjoy it.
Yeah. That's our thoughts on Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Let us know in the comment section below what you think about the film. Is there any other musicals in the Criterion Collection? I'm not really sure if there are or not.
I'm pretty sure there are.
I think we're probably going to do it soon. I know that there's a new release for The Wiz.
Yeah,
So we're probably going to do that. There's a lot of other films that we should check out. Be sure to make some suggestions all in the comments. Not just musicals. Any movies we have not done. We've done almost 300 movies. There's still like another, I don't know, 1,000 movies or whatever on the Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
Let us know. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Condish Productions. And until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm still Joe.
I guess we'll see you later.